Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to day 26 of 30 Inks 30 Days, sponsored by Ink Journal, and I'm participating this year again, second year that I've done it. This is my ink of the day. Today it's Robert Oster Nederlands Eerste, which I believe means first, and this is a special ink, a limited edition one that commemorated their first pen show. And I got it through an Instagram drawing. I was real lucky. It came in a bottle like this, a 50 ml bottle. And let's dive in and see about this. I think we're gonna make it. I've got 4 more letters to fill in, and if I remember to do it, I have 4 more days. So this month is flying by. Okay, so here we are. This is the Bond Travel Gear Notebook with 68 GSM Tomoe River paper in it. I had a little disturbance as far as needing to redip my serendipity, so you're going to see quite a bit of variety. Up here, these first 2 lines seem to be pretty average of how the ink was coming out of that nib. That's the serendipity with a broad Yowo nib. And I don't believe this is correct on the dry times. I think it was more like 25 seconds. I retested. Anyway, I'm not sure. The redip caused the nib to be wetter, and I really believe it's around 25 seconds in the broad nib. So this one, it was available. Now I don't believe it's available. So we'll look at some comparables after a while. And there are quite a few that I don't have that are in this range too. This is the 1.5 stub, the Goulet nib, and it took 20 seconds to dry. I was seeing a little bit of shading. It was pretty subtle. Let me hold that up. But enough variation and shading that I thought it was pretty. And then when it went down into the fine nib, it changed things just a little. It always does. Still pretty, but it weakened it enough that I wasn't as happy with it. So my first impressions were a very pretty color. I just wish it were a little darker, but there are darker colors. So for me, it does best in my broad nib. And this is the chromatography. It looks like kind of a little bit of blue and then green, yellow. It makes sense, I think. Okay, let's look at the bath test. I think it's a good time to do that. Totally typical fountain pen ink. It just cleaned right off. You can see a faint remnant of the writing, but it's not enough to remark about really. And then yesterday's, which was Lee Dete by J.R. Bond over here, the brown, that one got an A in the clean out scale. So despite the properties it had of sticking around through the bath test, 20-minute submersion, it still cleaned out excellently from the pens, and I really like that. Okay, so let's go and look at the Rhodia paper now. This is the Rhodia 80 GSM dot grid paper. Okay, and then I think everything had evened out for this test here. It took 20 seconds in the broad nib to dry. I saw a little bit of shading. I don't know. I guess I'm so spoiled with some of the really heavy shaders that I have that a little subtle shading doesn't even hardly hit my radar, but there is some, especially in this stub nib. You could really see it, I think. Let me hold it up. See if you can also see it. I didn't do the dry time on that. Oh, I just like quit. I didn't even realize I wasn't doing it. I just hammered right through. We're just going to have to use our imaginations. I don't believe that it was a long or short dry time. I think it was right in the middle somewhere. Here's the fine nib. I did not really like how it looked here. The color didn't stay bright enough or dark enough for me. I put note a little light in the fine nib. Also, I made a note to check into Robert Oster Crocodile Green. That should kind of indicate the brand. I'll never remember later. Also, the other one I wanted to check into was Roarin' Klinger Alt Gold Gruen, something like that. I've been meaning, yeah, I've got that actually. I've got the samples in my cart at Goulet, let's put it that way. So here's this one. And then we've got, well, I've got a little bit of extra for you today, notebook-wise, because I wanted to try to give this ink a fair shake and test it out on a few more, especially since I've got half a bottle left, which, so if I don't like it, I've got to just pass it along because it's not nice to sit on something you're not using. But I did end up finding a nice place for it. But okay, this is the CVS Caliber notebook. Very inexpensive notebook that I use a lot. I use my big one even more than this size. This is 5 by 7. It was taking 25 seconds to dry. It had a nice brightness on this paper. I wonder, can you see that if I lay it down? It looked nice. You know, it did something to the color on here that I liked. Let's put it that way. Because we're having intermittent rain showers, and so I'm dealing with lots of lighting conditions today. 25 seconds to dry in the broad nib. About 30 in the stub nib. That was acting a little more juicy. And then I did not like it on CVS Caliber paper in the fine nib at all. It's all I could do to even finish. Oh my goodness, and I forgot the dry time test. I can sense something wearing on me here. Maybe I'm slipping. I'm slipping a little during this challenge here the last few days. There's only 4 days left. I'm still enjoying it a lot, but it seems like there are a few corners being cut. Okay. This is 52 GSM Tomoe River paper, and I wanted to see it on here because I do kind of favor this paper. And this is the cream instead of the white. These are all white, although like the Rhodia is whiter than the Bond notebook. So we do have to keep that in mind, but I do love how the ink looks on this 52 GSM paper. It did bleed through where I painted it on. And I just did the quick sentence. I didn't go to town with it really. I just wanted to see what it looked like. Okay, so we don't, other than just a quick glimpse, because I'm going to retire that, put it over here. I did want to show you, I did write in the Cafe Note, which is also Tomoe River paper. I did a journal entry, let's see, right here. And I tried I didn't try each pen. I tried the broad nib, and I tried the stub nib somewhere in here. Oh, wow. When it changed, it didn't really notice the change, but, isn't that something? I drew my line at the wrong place, I think. I can see that the stub begins here. Wow, confusing. I'm confusing myself even. And then I meant to come down here and write with the fine nib. Instead, I ended up drawing a little ink monster, my little ink monster. I liked it on this paper. I mean, it shows up real good in the broad nib and in the stub, and it didn't go through or anything. It maybe shadowed just a little. Let's hold it, but you know, that's normal. I think that's very normal. So I just thought I'd show you those extra things since I did them, and I did do I did my little ink splatter, which I keep forgetting to show, and that did bleed through just where it was heavily splashed on. But it's a pretty color, and what I'm thinking is I like it better for filling in numbers and doing art type stuff, but we'll find out when I do the visual journal if that continues to be the case. Okay, so flipping it over, we have a little heavy shadowing where it's painted on and nothing else to worry about there. And then on the Rhodia, we have to look back on yesterday's, but that's good paper, and there's just nothing disturbing there about that tiny little bit of shadowing. And then in here, Tomoe River 68 GSM, just normal. It's a light ink. It's not super, super dark. It is, you know, it is what it is, I guess. It's pretty. I'm just not sure I like it in the nibs as much as some of the others. So that leads us to our next project. Let's compare the ink the best we can. I don't have a lot of inks in this category. And like I said, I've got those 2 on my list. I want to try the Crocodile by Robert Oster, and I want to try, something is really weird about this. Uh-oh. I just ended up cutting off the bottom. Okay, that might be a little bit better. So our ink of the day, Robert Oster Nederlands Eerste, is right in the middle. And I noticed right away that it kind of is a little bit of a look-alike to that Kyoto ink. And I don't remember how to say that. It's Kokeiro. The middle part where we see the chromatography is different. And I think this ink was a little light for me too. Whereas when I got into Diamine Safari, that was a nice, that really worked for me. I like that ink. And that's just personal, but it just shows you we can look at these and they're, I'm spitting again. There's lighter and then there's darker. There's all kinds of options. And this is just what I have. I have the regular green down here just as a stabilizing factor to say that this is like a primary green. And then there's the really dark Monteverde Olivine, which I believe is so beautiful. But when I get it into nibs, it's too dark for me. It was really nice. A pen friend sent a sample of this. It's always nice when you can find out without investing in a bottle that it's not quite where you want to be. But it's a beautiful ink. And then, well, the Krishna Sufi is beautiful too. That's a limited edition. I've been meaning to check on that just to see. But I seem to like it in the lighter kind of safari looking and that Noodler's Army green. I like that a lot too. But I do prefer the Diamine Safari. So then, yeah, Tasha was, I think, too light for me. I remember the olive green, and it would do okay in a broader nib, you know, in my case, but So I'm sorry there aren't very many comparisons today. This is just what I basically have, and I do intend to look into that Rohr & Klinger Alt Gold Gruen because that seems like a really beautiful ink, and I love that brand. So, and I also love Diamine, but I'm not ready to commit to any bottle in this category yet. So, or I may not ever, because you can go a long way with samples when you have as many inks around as I do. Okay, so this is, we'll talk just a minute here about what I think about the ink from, in my continuing exploration of the Pen Thing ink swatch plot log that was sent free for me by my pen friend Brian at the Pen Thing. So I said pretty in wider nibs. I'd prefer darker shades like Diamine Safari. Notes like that really do help me later down the line. I thought the saturation was good. It just wasn't really high, like it wasn't super dark or anything at all. But I wouldn't say there was anything really wrong with it. And the flow was good. It wasn't as flowy as some inks, but it had a good flow. So it's up above that okay line. This is the okay line to me, 5. That's how I learned it. Shading was present, but it wasn't super, and it wasn't bad or absent or anything. Dry time I thought was good, average. And so overall, I kind of saw it, for me, as an average ink. And it might be somebody else's 10, you know, who knows, because it might hit exactly perfect for you. So, okay, let's see. Let's try the Nick Stewart art technique on this ink. You know, that's becoming one of my favorite parts of this 30 Inks 30 Days is doing this. And this was yesterday's. I think that's really astounding. It's really pretty. I still kind of favor this one because what happened up there in the sky is so interesting. But there's something about seeing these two colors that, oh, I forgot to write in the other color, but it is this Diamine Soft Mint over here with Lee Dete. So we'll work right here, and we've got pens, paintbrushes. I'm going to start with my regular one. I want to make sure I have my water brush. Okay, let's see. Probably ought to have that a little squarer for you, but all right. I don't know what's keeping me from it. Get that water down. I really don't know what to expect with this. We shall see. Okay. Should be plenty of water without getting too carried away. My sample. Okay. I got to remember not to judge it immediately, because how it reacts over a few minutes even changes. Let's get that broad nib and see what we end up with for our initial line there. Huh, okay. That's cool. Draw that around, and I might just get a tiny bit more water on it from here. I was trying to decide if I wanted to see another color with it. Making decisions when you're doing so many things can be real busy, real interesting. Let's put it that way. Okay, we might just stick with this unless I pause and go and hunt for something. Or I could just grab what's up above here. I've got a couple of samples. Oh, I even have yesterday's. Yeah, we might do that. Let's do that. Yesterday's needs to be filed. I decided, mostly when I finish them, they go in a little bin that says I've already reviewed them, but the Lita is going to stick around, and I have that small bottle. So it's going to become, it's going in one of my ammo boxes, is what I'm trying to say. Now, I'm not sure if these two go together. Oh, I like that, if they go together, but the whole thing about art journaling and doing a visual journal is to get over the, is just try stuff, try different things. And I'm not the best at that. I kind of tend to try to control things. That's pretty. That actually, I think that actually does something. It helps a little. Wish I had it in a nib. Because I would probably do my detailing, which I can do, but okay, let's get one of those. Let's get the fine nib and see what we can do. I like how that mixed together down here. Thought of maybe kind of, you know, that's what happens when leaves start to change. You got a little green, you got a little brown, you get a rust color, you get all kinds of different stuff. Okay, yeah, it's just not, it doesn't really move a lot. Or it does, but it stays fairly flat. Okay, I think that's it for today, but that's cool. We'll see how that dries up. I'll try to lift it without taking it away. There, okay. I think that's a wrap for now. Let's look at what we're gonna look at tomorrow. And I got to tell you, I'm missing all my colors. Like having 8 pens inked up is what I really like. And so the challenge part of the challenge has come on to my consciousness here lately. But tomorrow it's going to be a nice bright saturated ink. It looks like Birmingham Gerbera Pink. And I'm looking forward to this one. I don't know why I haven't used it more yet. Probably it's just time. Time is a factor, so that'll be for tomorrow. But what did you think of today's? Let me grab the placard off the panel. I know this is going to be right in the zone for a lot of you, because many of you aren't as fussy about darkness, saturation, whatever, you know, and I seem to be, and I really think it's my vision, actually, my glasses and all that. I want to be able to read it super good. And I have that habit of being where I like to have the broad nib and the other nibs. I like it to show up. So that's why, I guess why I've gravitated toward the saturated colors. And yet there I am being fussy about it being too dark. So let me know what you think. Thank you for following along on this journey, and I hope you're having an awesome day. Week, month, and year, whenever you see this. Bye for now.